We now turn to Mr. Amer Shobaki, the economic expert in global energy markets. We'll explore what this means for oil, inflation, and the wider economy. Welcome to the Q News Economic Bulletin, Mr. Shobaki. Sir, how much would the closing of Strait of Hormuz affect the global oil supply, the prices, and key exporters, and for how long?
Closure of Hormuz, if it happens, will last the pressuring card for Iran, will have a significant impact on the global markets, and definitely it will stop 6.5 billion barrels from daily needs. It will stop 1/5 of the oil production and 40% of the maritime exports supply. Of course, this percentage cannot be compensated, and the results will be catastrophic, as the oil prices will soar to $130 and maybe more with the airstrikes in the Red Sea region by the Houthis, and the impacts will affect the Gulf states and the major exporters such as China, which exports half of its needs from the Arab Gulf region, and Iran as well will be affected by the inability to import its oil. The Iran has the potential. They have 6,000 steam mines, and some entities and parties are escalating already, and the Iranian retaliation is now waited because the delay of this response helped to preserve the oil prices as is for now. The Iranian parliament as well approved of closing the Hormuz Strait and requested the executive entities, relevant entities, to close the strait. I think this will be economic suicide for Iran and a challenge for the international community, for the Arab states, and for allies such as China and the European Union and NATO, and the United States as well, of course, will have a decisive response in this case.
Mr. Shobaki, you've mentioned that the prices could surge beyond $130. So how fast would these rising oil prices ripple through to the consumers and inflation worldwide?
For sure, we will witness a lot of price fluctuations for oil prices. If this period is prolonged, we will have more catastrophic impacts, as the states will start to use the strategic reserves, and they will lose of these strategic reserves, which will mean that the strategic reserves around the globe will be reduced, and this will cause more inflations and more surges in oil prices. But as I have mentioned, the United States and the United Nations will not allow this, even though this is a very possible scenario if Iran targets the US bases.
Do you expect certain economic sectors or certain industries to be affected in 2025, as it will probably affect the global growth?
All sectors will be impacted. The air transportation will be highly impacted due to high ticket prices. and this will lead to reducing the growth expectations for the tourism sectors, and this will also have an impact on the sea transportation prices, and indirect increases will start with the inflation rates. We will see high inflation rates, and this will confuse the financial policy makers around the globe, whether the Federal Reserves or the central banks in all states, as President Trump will be the most impacted with his tariff plans due to the increased prices of oils, and this will lead to high interest rates if the conflict is prolonged. And the navigation in Hormuz is affected. This will include all sectors, the entire globe. No one will be isolated from the impacts of the closure of such a vital strait.
So, China and India are some of the main major importers of oil. How will they adapt their energy strategies?
Such event preventing 30 to 40% of the oil prices, of course this will have major implications similar to what happened in 1973 when the OPEC and the Arab states withhold selling oil to the world. There will be paralysis. India and China, of course, have major strategic reserves, but this cannot be guaranteed, as China does not disclose how much reserves do they have, but this will lead to high oil prices and very negative implications, and there are no alternatives to cover such shortage in production and exporting.
From our men, that was the economist and specialist in oil and energy affairs, Mr. Amer Shobaki. Thank you very much, sir.